I have 12 things that you must know before you create a lean bulk program. Okay. In order to build muscle, you need to be in a caloric surplus. Okay. You must eat enough protein to encourage muscle growth. You must know your weight, your body fat, your lean body mass, your fat mass, your total daily energy expenditure. Okay. You must be consistent with your nutrition plan. You must be consistent with your weight training plan. You need to know what is the most amount of cardio that you can do in order to maintain muscle. Okay. You cannot skip meals and you cannot skip workout sessions. Okay. Now, if you don't know all 12 of these things, you are going to start slowly having a less effective program. Okay. Now, I know I can nerd out on you guys, which is why I said this is going to be a nerdy session. So some of this stuff, it may go over your head. Okay. But I promise you, you need to know these things before you truly create a lean bulk program. This is why it's so hard. It is so hard to truly create a lean bulk program for most people because they don't have the knowledge on all of this stuff. So number one, you need to know that in order to build muscle, that you need to be in a caloric surplus. Okay. That's easy. Okay. So if everybody right now were to go say, and this is just generally speaking, okay, don't do this, but you can do it just for the sake of the example. But if everybody right now were to go and say, let me find out, let me Google calorie calculator. Okay. And you were to calculate how many calories you need in order to maintain your weight. Okay. Everybody can do that. It literally takes you 2 minutes to do it. Okay. So you can Google that and figure it out. Okay. Let's just say it's 2,000. Okay. A caloric surplus means that you're eating over 2,000 calories. So you have to know that in order for you to gain muscle, in theory, okay, now I'm not talking about if you're a beginner. If you're a beginner, you can literally do whatever you want and you'll gain muscle. Okay, they're called newbie gains. Okay, I'm talking for your advanced person, somebody who's been consistent for about 3 or 4 months at least. Okay, if that's you, then you need to be eating in a caloric surplus in order to gain muscle. So that's number one, you need to know. Okay, number two, you need to make sure that you're eating enough protein to encourage muscle growth. Okay. There are a lot of different ways that you can do that. There's a lot of different schools of thought, a lot of different studies out there that show different things. Okay. But generally speaking, okay, it's not 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight because that doesn't make a lot of sense for somebody who's 210% body fat or somebody who's 230% body fat. Okay. Obviously the person who is at 10% body fat is going to require a much higher amount of protein because they're going to have a lot more muscle than somebody who's 200 pounds, 30% body fat. They're not going to have as much muscle. So you need to make sure that you have enough muscle, or enough protein to encourage muscle growth. Okay. Now, there are some studies out there that say 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. Okay. That would actually be a more strategic way and a more custom way to doing it for you. Okay. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. Now, some people just want to go based on a macro split and say, I want 40% of my calories coming from protein. That's another way that you can do it as well. At the end of the day, no matter which formula you use, it is all estimations, okay? 100% estimations. So don't get so caught up in trying to figure out what is the best way. To just find one, okay? Because the power isn't where you start. The power is really how you adjust it. And we're going to talk about that later, okay? So make sure you have enough protein to encourage muscle growth. Now, obviously, you must know your weight. You must know your body fat. You must know your lean body mass. You must know your fat mass, okay? Now, I'm telling you, you must know all of these things because if you don't know them, you have no way of tracking if you are on the right track or not. Okay. So don't be so, don't be so excited about getting started that you're just going to go start. No, you got to make sure that the setup is right. Okay. If you don't have all these initial numbers, you don't know if you're gaining. Okay. You can feel all day long, but you don't really know if you're gaining or if you're gaining the right weight or if you're, are you losing muscle and building fat or gaining fat, or is vice versa? Are you actually doing what you're supposed to be doing? Building muscle and losing fat. Okay. So you have to know these numbers if you want to create your program. So right now we're still just talking about setting up your program. Okay. We haven't even talked about how to actually do it. Okay. So weight, body fat, lean body mass, and fat mass. You must know your total daily energy expenditure. Okay. It's called your TDEE. Okay. Essentially, you need to know how many calories your body is burning every single day with the amount of physical activity that you're doing. Okay. Again, that's going to be your maintenance number. When you catch your TDEE, how many calories your body's burning every single day with your normal physical activity, okay? When you calculate that, now you have the line of how many calories you need to be eating, okay? Number 8, you must be consistent with your nutrition program, okay? You must be consistent with your weight training program, okay? If you are not consistent with your nutrition and weight training program, then all this stuff does not matter. Okay. You have to be consistent with it. Okay. I have found that I can spend 4 hours creating a plan, creating a recomp plan, creating a lean body mass plan, creating whatever kind of crazy macro split or what your body wants to look like, and do all these calculations. I can spend hours and hours and hours creating this, only for people to not follow it, to not be consistent with their training, to not be consistent with their food. Okay. So most of my clients, if you're one of my clients and you're watching this right now, most of my clients, we have to focus first on learning how to be consistent. If you are not consistent, I don't care what science we throw out there, none of it's going to work. Okay. You have to get consistent. Okay. So focus on consistency. If you're not there, then maybe you should focus on consistency before you start trying to get all crazy with these numbers. Okay. You need to know the most amount of cardio that you can do in order to maintain muscle. Okay. Most of y'all have spent all of this time doing cardio for fat loss. Okay. So you may know how many minutes of cardio or how much time of cardio or how many calories you need to burn per cardio session in order to lose fat. But do you know how much cardio you actually need to do in order to maintain your muscle? Okay, if you don't know that, that's one of the elements and one of the factors that you have to know before you create one of these plans. And then I have a few do nots, okay? You cannot skip meals, okay? You cannot do that. The moment you start skipping meals, you're no longer in the lean bulk because you're eating in the caloric deficit, and now you're focused on losing body fat. Okay, so you cannot skip meals. You got to eat exactly to whatever you set your calories at. Okay, the next one is you cannot skip workout sessions. Okay, you can't. Oh, I'm not motivated today. That cannot exist. Okay, yeah, I bleeped myself out. That stuff cannot exist at all. You cannot be inconsistent with your weight training. You cannot be, work out or not work out based on how you feel or based on your motivation levels or any of that. You got to go do it no matter what. Okay.